I'd like to welcome everyone to DNS Unfiltered. Today we're joined by Darrin Piotrowski. And I know I was thinking about your last name. Luckily, I have a weatherman in my area with the exact same last name. He's
Oh,
my
awesome.
favorite news personality in the world. Never kids us about the weather. So I was very easily pronounced your last name, which I was pretty happy with myself about. But Darrin has been in tech for a long time. He runs a company, CEO and founder of a company called Courant in New Orleans. And we're going to talk today a bit about human connection, keeping it local. Darrin and his company are very successful with this. They've navigated a rebrand into what is now Courant. And we're also going to touch on cybersecurity a bit. So let's get started. Darrin, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I started in IT quite a while ago. I was worked in a place that built computers, and they didn't really have a support department. And I was a salesperson, so I was I decided, oh, I can sell a computer, and I'll tell these people, oh, I'll come set it up for you for I don't know, $50 or whatever. And then started doing that. And then one day, just left the company and started what was Rent-A-Nerd at the time. And that was in 1997. So I've been running this company for more than half of my life.
Yeah, so Rent-A-Nerd, that's a really good name for at the
Yeah,
time.
yep.
And it sounds like now you've kind of graduated, just by name, not by actual operations, into what is Courant. Can you describe the current company name, Courant, for me?
Right. So the name is actually Courant, which is a French word which means current. And we worked with a local marketing person, and she helped us. I don't know, it was like 6 months or so, and she helped us rebrand, came up with the name, and that was probably long overdue because Rent-A-Nerd was not getting us. We were no longer working in residential, and Rent-A-Nerd was not getting us the type of clients that we wanted. Or the leads we were getting would be, if it was a business, it would be like a one-person law office, or just a one person operation. And that, if you're doing managed services, that's not really good unless they're going to pay you a minimum fee or something, which more than likely they're not. So we, that I remember once, went to a client's home to install Wi-Fi at their home. And it was a business client, nice sized law firm that we do all the work, and we will go to the partners homes to do stuff. We're not going to tell them no. And it was a Saturday, and he was telling me, why don't you change your name? I was trying to refer you to someone that was asking who do we use for IT, and we're like, oh, we use Rent-A-Nerd, they're great. And the other person, his friend, told him, I'm not calling a company called Rent-A-Nerd to work at my law firm. So that, like, I was like, all right, it's time. And then finally, um, we bit the bullet and worked on that. The funny thing is, one of the first three names that was given to us in this whole process was Courant, and the we didn't like it. And 6 months later, that's what we went with. So,
Courant. I'm
so
definitely
it,
not going to say that one
yeah.
correctly.
Well, we were worried about the spelling, and because it's Courant and all this other stuff. And then I think we were just overthinking it. I mean, how many
hmm
tech companies have a name that is just totally mispronounced and it's spelled incorrectly?
Like everyone, like we should remove the vowels from our company name just to fit in.
Yeah. So, but that was funny, and that whole process is really interesting. She interviewed clients, uh, employees, figured out the whole culture of our company through all of this and what our clients thought of us. And that's how the whole strategy came with the how our human connections differentiate us. And, a lot of our clients have grown with us. There's one client that was just five or so employees, and now there are 100 employees. when we started with them. So that's yeah, that is
So their recommendations were successful.
yeah, exactly, definitely. And it was weird because right off the bat we started getting newer clients and bigger clients. Our wheelhouse is 10 to 25 employees, uh, and that might be dictated by the market we're in New Orleans. It's a lot of small businesses.
Hmm.
Uh, although our largest client is 100, and we do have a few in the 25 to 50 bucket. But yeah, that we started getting, architect firms with 20 employees or so,
Yeah.
which
So you
is
guys
great.
are so you really moved from this, rent a nerd, to be projecting more of the professional business that you were, I'm assuming, and wanted to become more like. And that is funny because when you do something physically, like change a name, change your logo, change your color scheme, like it does change the mindset of not only you as the owner, CEO, founder, but also your companies, and then additionally the customers that are going to be attracted to that new brand.
Oh, that's totally true. There was definitely as far as employees, we don't have a lot of turnover with our employees, and there was definitely a shift there. You know, with with, and I think some sense of relief that we changed our name. And then there's a few things with, nerd is kind of derogatory, and
Hmm.
the word rent.
We nerds love being called nerd, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not good for business.
right. And then rent a nerd means, hey, we're just a temp solution, right? We're not a man.
Hmm.
We're not going to have a monthly fee to take care of everything, and so that 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 helped a lot. And then we the name Courant is French for current, as I said, but we also have the Mississippi River, which is a current. You could keep our tagline now is keep it current, and the I and the T is capitalized. Keep IT current, keep it current.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's cool.
yeah, so we try to like harp. It's our New Orleans heritage, so we
Yeah, and
like.
let's get into that. Like, why is local working, and how is local working for current? And you kind of hinted at it, with the translation from rent nerds to current. It's really changed this mindset. It sounds like the strategist that was helping you develop this new branding also was helping structure, the company voice, the strategies that set you guys apart. And it sounds like a lot of that strategy was really doubling down on local New Orleans, culture. And I've actually even seen a few of your LinkedIn posts that are, very heavily driving home that we are New Orleans, we are IT for New Orleans, and call us. And it looks like it's working.
Definitely, and the mindset in our city is that people love doing business with local people. So I'm not ruling out at some point in the future that we may have to outsource a help desk or something like that. But at this moment, that is not part of our plans. And when you call, you're going to get someone on the phone. That's that we're going to answer the phones live, and then we're going to create your ticket, and the whole process with the same for every company. And but you're working with somebody, and there's no like leaving a message and someone's going to call you back. And we try to that's all part of the local environment that we apply. We hire local, uh, so we're, that's, again, I don't want to say that's giving back, but we're keeping all our employees here locally. So
You mentioned, you said, answering the phones like any other company and you get a person. But in fact, that's not the case with every company. A lot of times there's a giant phone tree that you have to navigate.
yeah,
There's, press one for this, two for that. There's, email because we don't do phone support. There's,
yeah.
live chat because we don't want to get on the phone. But you said that like everybody does it. And I can almost guarantee you that's not true, that you guys are doing something a bit more unique in being human, talking live on the phone. So how do you guys manage that, like technically? Because someone has to be there to answer the phone.
So yeah, we the answering now outside of hours, obviously it's going to be a recording. Uh, but we the sorry, we we um we like to answer the calls live, and I'm sure there's better ways to do things and more efficient, but it gives the human touch to the whole approach. If someone's calling us, we're proactive, but if someone's calling us, probably something is broken, they can't print, maybe there's a thing of frustration, and I feel even when I call somebody, it's more frustrating when you're talking to a voicemail, and we don't want that to happen to our customers. Uh, you know, uh, Now from that part, maybe we can kick off some automations and stuff. But once we get the ticket in, then you know someone's going to call you. We don't just start remoting into your computer. So a lot of times you're on the phone with the customer dealing with everything. So which goes to our hiring process. We like to hire people that are personable, and sometimes we jokingly say that we're a customer service company. It's cliche, but we're a customer service company that happens to be good at tech. So,
Right.
you know,
What are some of the other things you would say differentiates Current from the competition in your area?
so we work with our customers to learn as much as we can about their business so that we can tailor almost everything we do for the customer. Now, 90% of the time, we can be blanket and generic. All businesses have the same issues: offboarding and onboarding problem, customer employees, uh, security issues, and those kind of things. But we tailor that down to the client level, uh, and that helps. That's one of our differentiators. The other thing is we don't really operate with a tier one, tier two, tier three plan. We assign the right tech right from the get go. So, it's not going to be, oh, my network's down. Oh, or you're going to start with tier one and he's going to tell you to reboot this and that. Okay, now you have to wait for tier two. We just go right to the person that's going to be right
So
for the job.
does each of your customers get assigned like a person that's their person, or is it like based on that specific need at that time?
It's based on a specific need. We try not to have one person with all the knowledge for a particular client.
So
Uh,
your customers would get to know the people that work at Current.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. So,
Do they ever call and say, "Hey, can I get Bob? Thanks."
I mean, so if the customer asks for a specific person, we generally try to assign that person. However,
Yeah.
it depends on what the issue is. If it's something silly, well, and Bob is a level three tech, we're not going to give the silly.
But, but maybe Bob has the best stories about Mardi Gras last year.
So another thing that differentiates is we have very high employee retention rates. So we have a lot of people that have been here over 10 years. Uh, and we're small. There's 10 of us. Obviously the newest employees have been here the shortest. But I think the first 6 or 7 of us have been here all over 10 years. So
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of this, like your rebranding, your very human approach to support, employee retention. It all kind of goes back to the rebranding of that person or that company that helped you with the rebrand. Like they were almost giving you the blueprint of how they did it. Like you're now onboarding your customers in a very similar way where they were interviewing you and your co-founders or your coworkers about what you guys are, like who are you, and then they walked through that process and then crafted a new brand. And it sounds like you guys are doing that almost every time with new customers. Like you're really getting to know their business to understand it. And like you said, like 80 to 90% of the stuff is the same, but there's that 20 to 10 to 20% where you can really stand out. It sounds like you guys are capitalizing on that in a major way.
well, definitely. And even if 80 to 90% are the same, there's always some little thing that you can do that makes that client feel special. You know, uh, I went to, so this week in New Orleans, it's New Orleans Entrepreneur Week, and there's a bunch of events. And one of our clients was a speaker, and so we were invited. So I went to the event yesterday afternoon, and then afterwards I got to talk with her, and and they're kind of new. I had met this particular client through the 10,000 Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses program, and so I didn't know exactly what they did. I knew they provided safety software in the medical industry, but so we had a lot of one-on-one time, and I got to know a lot more about her business, and which was pretty neat. Uh, like how she got started, because she's not a programmer. That's not her background. She worked in medical, but not like, but not, but in management side of things. So that's like a little thing, that we could do to help make differentiate ourselves and make clients feel special, I
Yeah,
guess.
you're like a real partner with them.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
we're people, you're people. Hey, you're nice
All
people. We're
right.
also nice people. Let's work together.
So
That's great. So, tell me about your like more of the nuts and bolts business side when you are selling security or just IT in general. Like, how are you like packaging things together? Because I can see your MRR numbers on the DNS filter side, and I'm curious. Like, you're obviously a successful business, so I'm hoping that people in the audience can learn what is working. How do you sell that increases your revenue?
okay, so the way we don't offer a tiered plan or a la carte plans for our customers. There's no cyber package add-on, which we tried in the beginning days, years ago when everyone was doing the cyber package add-ons. Uh, it's like basically it's our kind of our way or the highway. So everyone, and it makes it easier for the techs. They don't have to figure out, well, does this client have DNS filter, for example, or not?
The answer
So
is they
that
do.
yeah, no, they all do. So if you're a client of ours, they all have DNS filter. And the reason when we were trying to do the cyber package upsell, at the time we may have had 60 clients in them, and with a monthly recurring plan, uh, and only two signed up for the cybersecurity upgrade package.
When it was optional, only
Well, yeah,
only
like they
two.
didn't want to pay for it, So you know what I did? Like I think we tried for 3 months, 3 to 6 months. So 6 months after that, I just sent an email to all our clients saying we're increasing your rates, and I don't know what it was at the time, $15 per user per month, to because we're adding these security enhancements to keep you safer. Not one person complained. They all just went with it.
They're
One
like,
one
oh,
guy
thanks,
called,
no
one guy
problem.
emailed me and asked exactly what he was getting. That was all he asked. He didn't say, I don't want to do this. He just wanted to know what he was getting. Everyone else, no, no. Now, granted, now it leads me to believe, do people actually read the emails I send out? Did I just raise their rates in the middle of a contract and no one said anything?
Yeah.
So, and I want to say that was maybe 7 years ago. I don't remember. It was like, 7 or 8 years ago.
So
But I
for
thought it
about
was funny, and I was like, maybe I should do this more often. Just like, hey, look,
right.
yeah,
Well,
uh,
so that was actually in the rent a nerd days. Is that right?
oh, definitely, yeah, yeah. So,
Okay.
yeah, we've been doing managed services for quite a while. So
Hmm.
it just, I will say, more than 70% of our revenue is from managed services now. Maybe 8 years ago, that number was probably in the upper 50s. So low 60, upper 50s. And we've done a good job. We don't want it to be too high because that means we're not getting enough projects, right? If MRR gets to 80%, then what is the rest of your revenue coming from?
Hmm.
So but yeah, so yeah, our plan is like, especially with cybersecurity, we want you to have all the stuff that we offer. And our biggest, like if I was to do a pain point with that, our biggest is juggling client convenience with versus security.
Yeah.
We don't want, clients hate inconvenience. And I know, you know, 5 years ago, I guess, people were pushing everyone to move to multi-factor authentication. That was a headache. Our clients
Yep.
did not want to do it. We eventually made them like, you have to do it.
And it's like, like you said, people hate inconvenience, but you know what they hate more? Losing their business or being on the news because of a data breach.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like,
You know,
which one do you hate less?
right.
Inconvenience or the end of your business, perhaps?
Yeah. Yeah. That's, uh, inconvenience is a big pain point, and you don't want to inconvenience your customer with your branding also. Then they start associating. Fine. They're making me ask for permission to install this application, or
Yeah. And
uh,
you're getting the clients that are taking cybersecurity seriously because you're taking it seriously. And
that is
just
correct,
like
right?
with your branding, you're attracting the exact type of customer that you want.
Right, true. And we want, if the client isn't serious about cybersecurity or even their IT, then they're not going to want to, you know, they're not going to understand pricing. There's a lot of things we can go in, or they don't value IT, or I do, they may not feel that they're, you know, I guess they don't understand what happens when their IT is not working.
Yep.
You know, so
So kind of so far we've been on this journey of what is now Current, a very successful MSP in New Orleans. And can I say NOLA? Is that allowed for
yeah, you can say that. Yeah,
outsiders to say
yeah.
NOLA or Nolans? I can say it like
I,
that. I mean, I'm from the South, so I
no,
get
I,
a bit of
New
a pass.
it's New Orleans, New Orleans. I don't think
So
I've ever heard someone say Nolans in the city.
Nolans
So
only in the movies.
yeah, yeah, only in the movies.
But what
Dennis
do you
Quaid
think? So,
does
like,
that.
you have a business partner now, Nick, I believe is his name, and you guys
Right,
are like charging off into the future. And I'm just curious what you think that future looks like, because I think the audience would get
right.
some good
So
insight on what to expect.
yeah, approximately. So Nick's been with me for over 20 years, and he approached me at a DattoCon, I think it was San Diego, about becoming a business partner. And the funny thing was, I had already spoken with an attorney about approaching him and asking if he wanted to buy into the company. So we were already starting off on the same right page. And then we met weekly. We still meet weekly for management meetings, but we met weekly just to see if our brains were going to be in alignment of what we wanted to accomplish. And then about 3 years ago, I sold him a portion of the company. It kind of did like an owner financing type deal, and that has worked great. He's always wanted to be a business owner. He has definitely brought a lot of things to the table that I never even thought of before. Uh, I and it's been a big relief for me because a lot of times I'm pulled in 1,000 different directions. And as the owner of a company, sometimes when you get pulled in 1,000 different directions, nothing gets accomplished. And now things are getting accomplished. So our long-term goals are, we want to continue, obviously, with any business, we want to continue adding customers, but still provide the same level of service uh, that we like to provide for our customers. So, and that's figuring out when to hire a new technician, you know, and when, there's a fine line between too many techs and not enough techs. You know, we also want to still provide a good company culture for our employees. That's really important to us. Because if you don't have a good company culture, that will trickle into how customers are treated. Uh, so that's really important to us, and a lot of that's even more important than like the company's bottom line. Uh, and granted, we want to improve our, we do want to improve our bottom line, but juggle all of this with culture, client retention, employee retention. There's a lot of things that
That's actually really interesting the way you kind of phrase those things, because they're not like whiz bang new future perhaps things. And I just heard like a snippet of a speech by Jeff Bezos, which he gave recently, I guess, and it was basically along the lines of, a lot of people, try to focus on the next thing. What's next? Like, oh,
Right.
AI is the next thing. Ooh. And he's like, that's the wrong thing. What you want to focus on is what is not going to change, because you already know how to win at those things. All you have to do is double down on them, continue to invest in them, and have them pay off dividends in the future. Things like company culture, employee retention, client happiness that you
Right.
mentioned. So you and Jeff Bezos, you guys are like twins
Yeah,
over there.
yeah. A few
Did you hear
zeros.
that same talk that I
Yeah.
heard?
I think I'm a few zeros away from him. So,
Yeah, a few zeros, a few
uh,
islands, a few boats.
yeah.
But that's
Uh,
really good to see, Darren. It's great to see that Current is in great hands with you and Nick leading the ship. And I
right.
just want to say, thank you for appearing with me here on DNS Unfiltered. Any last words for our audience?
This has been fun, and if you're not using DNS Filter, you should be. It's a great product. It's easy. They've always adding improvements. Support is great. Like support is really awesome. Like one of the better products we work with. Probably definitely in the top 3. So,
Well, now I've got to send you a check. Thanks, Darren. All
yeah,
right.
no,
Well,
yeah. I'm like, yeah, it's been really good. And we came from another product that starts with a U and ends in an A, and that was not very good. So, yeah, exactly. But yeah, y'all have been great. I'm glad to do this. This is fun. So,
yeah. Well,
yeah.
thank you, and thank you for those kind words about DNS Filter, and appreciate again you joining me.
All right, thank you.